Okay, practice one in the books. It was hot and it was humid. So, but I thought the older guys, the experienced guys, pushed through it well. The team in general did push through it well. We got our work done, took a business-like approach. Haven't watched the tape yet. We'll do that after this press conference with the staff. But it's good to be back and good to get going.
Yeah, Curt, you mentioned having those veterans. When you have so much continuity on the coaching staff and you bring back key guys kind of across the roster, does that eliminate some uncertainty you might otherwise have going into fall camp about kind of the team or the roster at all?
Well, I think the staff, we know what to expect from one another. The experienced guys that we have a long history with, the same. To bring in experienced guys from other programs is good. We just have to assimilate them into our way of doing things, which we began doing last January. And but you're as good as you are today. Your resume, your body of work in the past is a sort of an indicator, a predictor what the team is capable of doing, or the staff. But you got to put the work in. You got to find the edge every day. It's that kind of business where the margin for error is very slim, and that's what makes it such a great game and such a great profession, challenging.
Curt, I recognize some of this probably you only find out with experience, but this is the start of kind of only having 105. Normally you have more walk-ons, which I imagine allows you to do a little bit more in terms of the way you play in scout team and things like that. And, of course, you've also had success with guys like James Carpenter that joined you as walk-ons and wound up becoming really important players. Just what are the differences maybe in the way you plan around how you manage your roster in a preseason if you don't have the complement you want?
Truthfully, I've always been a small roster guy. I don't think we've ever had 110 guys on our roster. And most years we've been at or below 105. So really it's business as usual. I don't like a huge support staff, coaching staff. I don't like a real big team, 130 guys. I want everybody in the organization, on the football team, to have a role and be the right kind of people, because everybody affects somebody else positively or negatively. So for us, it's business as usual, and the size of our roster really is no different than it's been most years. Probably a little bigger. I mean, there are a number of years I've been in the 90s.
Matt Weaver up the right, that same.
Hey, Coach. Got a couple linemen out there that were obviously missing spring, and Benson and Evans. I know it's just one day in, but just your thoughts on how they looked out there, getting back in the groove of things, and your confidence level and the depth that you guys have built on the O-line.
Yeah, well, until I watch the tape, I can't really say. And we're also practicing without pads. So, give us 3 or 4 days. But it's good to have both those guys back. They've played successful football. It gives us more depth. I'm very high on the potential of our offensive line, and Bob Bostad does a great job of coaching those guys. Tough old school guy. And, I think we got a chance to be good.
Sammy up top.
Coach, what are the differences and challenges from a year one like last year to a year two of a program? What becomes, I don't want to say easier, but more routine, and then what new challenges do you have to see to make sure you guys are improving?
Well, to me, every year you got to start over, regardless of what, how long your tenure has been or what your record was the previous year. You always start at ground zero. And build it from the foundation up. So the expectation level, on the outside, some of the noise is a little different, but I think, one of the things we really got to do a great job of is staying focused on the things that affect positive development, individually and collectively, and kind of block all the other stuff out. It's a great game. It's entertainment. But I think taking a business-like approach, checking your ego at the door when you enter the building, being totally focused, being where your feet are, controlling the controllables is the key to the drill. And like I've said before, the season's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And you got to be able to handle success, failure, overcome obstacles. And you have to do that during the game, too. Good plays, bad plays. You got to be able to compartmentalize, rip off the rearview mirror, and play the next play. So, to me, it's more the same than different.
Jim, on your right to Mike.
Curt, this is only day one, but we're only 4 weeks away from game one. What do you guys have to do every day to get to the point where you want to be with this short time frame?
I think we have to have a great sense of urgency, have great focus, and maximize our opportunities across the board. And, really develop these guys, identify roles, who can do what, build depth, promote competition, and then get ready to play the opener against Old Dominion. A Sun Belt team that we're familiar with from JMU. And, I addressed Old Dominion in the team meeting, the first team meeting, because these Sun Belt teams are very capable. They have a history of knocking off P4, or in the past they were called FBS teams. We beat Virginia, Marshall beat Notre Dame, App State beat A&M, Louisiana beat Mississippi State, and on and on and on. They're good teams, and when you play them early in the year when they're healthy and they're at full strength, they're especially dangerous. And throw in the first game, the uncertainty of the first game, what's changed, what's different from last year. So we got to be ready to go, but we will be.
I'll give you right to Randy.
Yeah, Coach, just continuing on that with Old Dominion and the early non-conference games, what's your message to the fan base to kind of generate more enthusiasm about those early games?
Well, I just addressed Old Dominion. I'm not worried about anybody else. My focus is on camp, developing this football team. But, we are 20 practices away from the opener, which creates a sense of urgency to get a lot done in a short amount of time with an eye on ODU. I really don't have an eye on anybody else. We did our opponent scout in the spring and the off season. I expect us to sell out. I know one of those games is a Friday night game. It gets a little tougher to get to the stadium for some people on a Friday night. But we create a lot of excitement around here, and I expect us to have great crowds. But the focus right now is, getting in the room with the coaches, watching a practice tape, evaluating who did what, how we did, putting tomorrow's practice together, installation, and having a great practice tomorrow, all leading toward running out of the tunnel for the first game.
Rabbi on your left to Danny.
Yeah, your receiving core, really good players coming back. Preseason accolades on paper looks really good. What are the key things for Jarrett, Cooper, and the whole group to do to go from really good to maybe, moving in toward that elite territory?
Well, I think they've got to, number one, commit and have the discipline to achieve their goals. And understand that you can't rest on your laurels. That it just doesn't happen on its own. Because, I always talk about that margin for error, the difference between winning and losing and how small it is. And every day you've got to relentlessly pursue the edge. What gives you the edge? And discipline, commitment, and work ethic, purposeful preparation create an edge. And that's what we need from those guys and all the other key guys that they're going to be playing a lot of football for us.
Daniel, then Zaki.
Ro Hardy was a pretty late ad last year. I want to say it was like May 24. When did he kind of land on your radar, and just where did he grow last year?
Coach Haynes found him, evaluated him. I believe we brought him in for a late spring or early summer visit. And after the Northwestern game, which was in the middle of the season, he became the third linebacker in our trio package, which we use against 2 tight ends, 12 personnel. And he's got a great future.
Zach B in front, then Lou.
Coach, you mentioned in Vegas about Jamari Sharp positioning himself to start opposite of D'Angelo Pons. What has he shown you in the spring and then at the end of last season that has put him in position to be that?
Well, I think he's grown up a lot and he's improved as a football player. Now he's got a couple guys breathing down his neck that, have a chance to be good players too. So we've got good competition at that field corner spot.
How has your life changed in Indiana from a year ago? When you got here, not that many people knew much about you, and now can you even walk down the street without being recognized or applauded, so to speak?
Yeah, well, yeah, we did go through that phase, gas at 5 a.m. and 2 or 3 selfies at 5 a.m. People waiting for you outside the office when you leave. So that's all part of being successful. I understand. Grew up in this business and been in it a long time, that you don't meet expectations and you don't do as well as you would like, that things can turn real fast the other way. But I think what's changed the most, besides the familiarity with all the people in town, and it's a great town, great college town, is everything in my house works now. We bought a house from a guy named Tom Martin, who was great friends with Bobby Knight, and it had a lot of toys in it. And it took my wife about a year to get everything to work. And not that he neglected it, because he didn't. And we've got a lot of new faces on the football team, too. That's changed. But I think that's most people across the country now.
Pete, far left, and we'll wrap with Josh.
Yeah, Coach, over here. With Pat Coogan, what was it that really intrigued you about him to have him come here? And then has the center position, how much has that evolved over the years? Maybe more responsibilities, more to do?
Yeah, well, Pat started at Notre Dame, a great program. Played a lot of football for them. Was an older guy, was looking for a home. Had a girlfriend that went to school here. We were looking for a center. Mike Kadick had graduated. It was a perfect fit. And I'm sure glad we got him, and I think he's going to be a great leader for us. I think the center position, like most of the other positions on the football team, have evolved quite a bit as technology has improved and the game has become more sophisticated. I think offense, defense, special teams are more complex than they used to be. But the learning tools and the teaching tools available to the student athletes have improved also, so their ability to learn faster, quicker, and more has changed as the game has changed.
Josh, last one on your right.
Coach, you talk about avoiding complacency time and time again, 20 practices. How do you avoid that from day in and day out?
Well, right now, we're looking for consistency in performance. A lot of the older guys have been through it. Some of the guys went through last season, and some of the older guys that are projected to start joined us in January and had a taste of it in the spring, so they're still learning too. But what you're looking for is consistency in performance, individually and collectively, day in, day out. You want to stay on that kind of a trajectory and keep improving, every play, every drill, every day. And, when you get 11 guys doing their job the way you want them to do it and teach our brand the ball, there's really no limits on what you can accomplish.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.